Welcome to a life by design, not by default. So it's very interesting that I'm recording this episode now because I just got done recording an episode with Celeste on Believe Your Way to Badass. And so that's the next feature that you're gonna see in this theme of momentum making, because I really felt like she was aligned to that and so many different things. It's such an incredible episode and experience. And a lot of what we talk about in that episode is, a life by default. I'm sorry, a life by design, not by default. And what one looks like versus the other, how you spend your time, what you do, how you react, how you show up, your perspective on things, and so many different things. And I'm actually releasing a book in the next few months. I have a couple already listed on Amazon, and one of the next ones that's coming up is How Passion Plus Purpose Equals Profits. So in that book, and what we're talking about in this episode, I walk you through, in essence, not only on how passion plus purpose equals profits, but a life by design and not by default. So in this episode, I'm actually giving you a sneak peek into some of the content that's in the upcoming book, as well as repurposing the same content because it's relevant and it fits, within what we share with Fit Life Creation, what's on our podcast, just everything. So in thinking about a life by design and not by default, I look back on my own journey quite a bit. And so this may resonate for you. When I was in college, I was completely living a life by design. I love to learn. I love to create communities. I started nonprofits. I was a leader in different organizations. I was working at a credit union, helping people simplify money. I was doing some health things, but nowhere to the extent of that I do now, and lifestyle and tools and different things, whether it's Herbalife, meal bags, etc. But I was working out. I did go run on campus, all kinds of things. I played soccer occasionally. Like, I wasn't a regular soccer player, but occasionally. I did tons of sports before then, also in high school and middle school. So I'm sharing this, you guys, from the intention of you to start thinking about the things that you did during a period of time that you were really happy. And that could be right now, but then maybe it's, doing more of different things or in a new level of awareness for what could be next. I still went out, and did things with friends. I always had fun, you guys, with everything. I made straight A's. Again, I love to learn, and every area of my life was on fire with what I wanted it to be then. And then when I left college, it was almost like, in a sense, a light switch to some degrees. I still did a lot of what I loved. I still interacted with, some people in different communities and environments that I loved. I would travel the world occasionally. I didn't have the levels of time freedom that I did, before then, or that I currently do. But I also made a lot of decisions off of what I allowed with other people's beliefs or other people's choices or what other people thought had to be done to make money. And the money or the status or the recognition or what I thought I wanted or needed out of a lifestyle drove me. And it's very different, you guys, and I'm a big believer now of you can have it all, but it's very different to be driven by stuff or a lifestyle that then drives you into bills, drives you into debt, drives you ultimately into a lack of freedom, versus when you align to being and doing what you love. And maybe that's only what you love for some of you. Maybe that's some of what you love for some of you, but knowing you can always make a choice to change with whatever is best for you. I choose to be and do love. And it's very different when you flow from a state of love and abundance and excitement all the time. And then you have the money and the stuff. And you align to people that resonate with who you truly are. Not who you're showing up to be at an office to quote unquote fit in, if that is you. I'm not saying that's everyone. I'm saying if that is you. And so I want to talk about in this episode with Life by Design, not by default, 7 different segments. And this is again a sneak peek into the book. So 1, passion. So what do you love? For me, I love our Creator. I love family. I love my future family. I love simplifying health, wealth, and business. I love education. I love creating things that help people transform and inspire. I love Herbalife nutrition. I love lifting. I love yoga. I love dance. Those are some ideas, but I love traveling the world. I love to impact and give back. Those are some of the things, you guys, that years ago maybe I was doing, not doing, or partially doing. And the more I started to do things that I loved, everything started to flow more and more and more. And I actually created this initial series, which you can download, How Passion Plus Purpose Equals Profits. There's a 5-part video series where I dive in a lot deeper beyond this episode. You can download it at our freebies link, fitlifecreation.com/freebies as well. So I actually created that series when I was in Cuba back in 2017. So that was when I first created it. Then actually, I created it right before I left for Costa Rica back in 2016, but I filmed it 2017 in Cuba. And it wasn't, and it isn't a one-time thing, you guys. I constantly revisit these things on a daily basis. Then it was thinking about my purpose, because I'm a big believer, you guys, that nothing is ever wasted. So I started to think about, as I looked back on my life, how did my life experience translate to helping others maybe walk through the same experiences and choose a different direction? So I realized I had, all these different beliefs, all these different things that I had complicated health, money, and business. And I realized at my core, going back to college, going back to childhood, that I love things that are fun. I love things that are simple. I love to equip people for success with tips, with tools, with technology, with things hands-on. And that came from experiences of, different things in different industries, in over 7 industries, educational experiences, money experiences, so many different things. And I realized, wait a minute, what if I took all that, created an all-in-one lifestyle platform with health, wealth, and business to help people? What if that included a podcast? What if that included a freebie library? What if that included experiences, online courses? So I started asking these questions around, yes, I walked through X, and it was painful, or I didn't know, or I was doing the best that I could at the time. But how could I take that, document my journey, and then help people walk through a similar type journey to transform their health, their money, their business, and to inspire others to do the same? And so I started asking all those questions. The same thing, you guys, with walking through an abusive relationship in my early 20s. Because a lot of people would meet me when I've done speaking about being in a domestic violence relationship and then getting out of it. People would inevitably make this comment to me of, you don't seem like a battered woman. And I would just look at them. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, is it just me? But who looks like you have no idea who's in a domestic violence situation. You have no idea who's been molested as a child. Like, nobody has a tattoo on their forehead that says, hey, this has happened to me in my lifetime. You know what I mean? And so it would floor me every time, because it's like, well, you can't tell a lot of things by people by looking at them. someone that's lost a child. So that's another reason why I'm deeply passionate about giving back in that area. So maybe what's something that you've walked through, gone through, figured out that you could help other people do the same thing. Because keep in mind, you guys, I'm also a big believer, speaking of people, that's the next section of the book as well. We all, I've walked through certain things. I've been in 4 countries by the time I was 2. I've now traveled to 25 countries. I speak 4 languages. I've walked through some of the things I just mentioned. So I inevitably have people that relate to me because they're walking through the same thing or they've gone through something similar. And so in the way I talk, how I look, experiences I've had in the past, travels I've had, whatever it is, they connect with me. And I'm betting there's something in your story as you're tuning in or your history that connects or you resonate or relate to something. In that same vein, somebody or there's a people that connects and creates and relates to you. So if you don't show up in showing, teaching, sharing pieces of your life, pieces of your journey, someone else maybe isn't going to get that gift from you. So recognize and realize it's much bigger than you. So for me, as I walked through several things over the last 7 years, I got clearer and clearer and continue to get clearer and clearer that really I'm speaking to typically three different, I guess you could say, groups of people. So one, I'm speaking typically to the multi-passionate, woman that resonates and wants to transform her health, her wealth, her business. She wants the convenience of having it all in one. She wants the tips, the tools, the technology all in one. She wants the convenience of being able to do it anywhere, anytime online, and or come join us and create with our community at events. That's one. Basically it relates to who I was 7 to 10 years ago. And alleviating the struggle that I walk through with tons of time and investment and mentors on multiple platforms. Not getting the tools all in one, not getting the technology all in one, all those segments. The second person that I typically identify with is the typically woman, but oftentimes couples end up coming along because the woman starts and then her husband or boyfriend gets interested. That happened with Misty and Joe and several others that now own a nutrition club in Ohio. And so the second segment is typically also a woman, but she is typically a woman that is very good on social media. Blogger, social media, influencer, guru, already a side hustle queen and or has started her business and or been very successful in different segments. So also relate to her because for years I was side hustle queen, always did things on the side. However, I struggled massively with going beyond the foundation. What do I mean by that? Beyond the foundation of the mission, the vision, whatever it was that I wanted to create, to move to stability of a business, of a brand, of income, of growth, of creating communities, of creating events, of creating multiple things that were sustainable to set up income and stability long term. So you could see how I would relate to her too, because again, I was side hustle queen and for years didn't believe I was capable of creating that stability, moving from foundation to stability to growth with a strategy, with structure, with systems, step by step. So it's the influencer, the blogger, the entrepreneur that maybe has started or taken some leaps of faith, but wants a clear roadmap, wants maybe, our monthly mastermind. And yes, wants the health too, but that's secondary. At least they think so initially. Then the third component and segment that we talk to typically, and I speak to, and again, because of my experiences and background, is brands. Brands that love what we're creating with our community, with the health, money, business all-in-one, with the influencer integrations, with the fundraising integrations, and the brands either want placement in our online courses so that they get visibility and exposure with people and with influencers, or they want a wellness program and they want to basically leverage and use our platform as wellness for their team, for their employees, and or they want to build a lifestyle brand segment. They want freebies, they want online courses, they want an influencer platform. So it's literally, you can see how it's simplified, and the same thing that I've already created replicates across all three of those segments. And you guys, that took massive amounts of time, but the clue in that is, look at who you once were. Look at what circles of influences you've been in. Look at what industries you've been in. I also am a CPA, so it makes sense that I connect with CPAs. I also love to dance. So many different things. Look at what you love, but look at who you used to be or who you still are, and what tribes or circles of influence you'll connect with as you grow and create what you love. Then speaking of which, profits. So when I was in college, I was completely doing what I loved. Then when I left, I allowed people to impact or influence me in that you have to go do this, or this to make money. And typically what you do isn't what you love. Versus I started realizing years ago, wait a minute, all these people do what they love and they make money. Why can't I do both? So it's getting clear on setting up that foundation, then creating a business to say, okay, how do I share stuff for free? There's so much abundance now, you guys, on social media. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You can get online now, just like what you're listening to now, and literally create commercials or different things for free, share value for free, whatever it is that you're doing for free, with the access we have today. Then you can create a freebie library, blogs, opt-ins, programs. We have guides, we have webinars, we have challenges, we have meal plans, and more, all in the areas of health, wealth, and biz across 12 themes. So you can create that, then lead to an intro offer, lead to monthly programs, lead to courses, lead to events, retreats, academies, brand offers, retainers. So full spectrum, you guys, on what can be done. And I had to walk through, so I did all this for so many corporations in different ways, also found fraud, waste, and abuse. But when I started transitioning to fully being on my own, you guys, there was so many limiting beliefs and fears that came up. And it's a step-by-step process. And then as you're in it, this can be in any different order. This is just how I structured it for this video and for the book, because I want you to walk through certain steps first. Then you want to really start to get clear on what you want. What is your vision for your life? How do you want to take all that passion, that purpose, that people and profits? Where do you want, your time to be spent? What do you want your money to mean, and where do you want to direct your money? So for me, that's simplifying health, wealth, and business. That's tons of dreams centered around my passion and my purpose with that, with my family, where I'm gonna live, how I'm gonna give money to help in homelessness, help in cancer, help military vets, help battered women. So you can see there's a clear direction for where the money is headed. It's not headed towards where people tell me to spend it. It's not headed to, necessarily having, like for example, I let go of my car several months ago again. So I say again because I did that for 2.5 years, then had a car for about 2 years, and then I realized I'm barely using it. Like, why am I investing $700 a month for something I don't use? And I like walking around. I like using public transportation. I like to, it reminds me to stay humble. So what is your vision? Could you see yourself doing things with Oprah, with Beyonce, with Brendon Burchard? Those are some of the things on my vision board. And did that come overnight? No. Did I have, oh crap moments? Yes. So create, again, it's a life by design, not by default. Then it's the creation. How are you gonna get through different steps? How are you gonna start creating what you love in different areas of your life? And then what is the path gonna possibly look like from foundation to stability to growth, step by step, like basically like a mini roadmap. And it's a day by day activity, you guys. Like things that I'm living through now are things that I wrote down and envisioned years ago. And it took daily action, daily work, daily shifts, daily transformation to get here. And the same way, the same person I am now, it's gonna take time, days, weeks, months, years to get to certain points of who and what I'm envisioning for my future. But I'm constantly thinking about the alignment and moving in that direction. So how could you do that to start doing that in your life? Spiritually, mentally, emotionally, relationally, physically, playfully, and financially. So hopefully you got tons of value in that. I mentioned some of the freebies at our freebie library. Feel free to explore our experiences and events, as well as our influencers and ambassadors and other things that we are creating in our Fit Life Creation community.